Hi, my name's Natanya Sortland, and I am an ambassador for VisionCorps.
Hi, my name is Leigh Jackson from People's Light, a theater in Malvern.
Hi, my name is Carol Sexton, and I am a recording artist.
And you're listening to White Canes Connect.
Hey there, PA Federationists. Welcome to another episode of White Canes Connect, presented by the National Federation of the Blind of Pennsylvania. My name is David Goldstein. I am the first vice president of the affiliate, and I am the treasurer of both the Keystone chapter and the Pennsylvania Association of Blind Merchants. Joining us today is White Canes Connect creator and second vice president, Lisa Bryant. Lisa, what do we have on tap today?
We have quite the trio of guests today, David. First, we have Natanya Sortland. I met her at an audio described performance at People's Light, and we said we would stay in touch because she does some great outreach, thus the show today. And we also have from People's Light, a theater in Malvern, Leigh Jackson, as well as Carol Sexton, who is a recording artist in the Malvern area.
It was very interesting hearing about how everything came about with this performance and how they're doing so much more than just the performance on December 10th. The things that go on before and Carol singing in the lobby beforehand, then the performance, and then some things afterwards. Just sounds like a great day of entertainment.
And it certainly is a sense of just how committed People's Light is to offering different ways of experiencing theater, the sensory tour, the audio description, and even the conversation afterwards. Carol is also a visually impaired recording artist, so the theater has also been very intentional in making sure that they're not only that their programming, but their artists reflect that community. So we can hear more of from Leigh, Natanya, and Carol.
Yeah, let's take a listen. Leigh, Natanya, and Carol, thank you so much for joining us today.
Our pleasure.
Absolutely.
I'm delighted.
So, Natanya, you and I met, and Leigh actually, a few months ago at another audio description performance. Natanya, you and I were in the audience and we kind of just started talking and hit it off. And, I said, let's keep in touch because you never know. I might want to have you with David on our podcast. And sure enough, you have put together this wonderful performance coming up at People's Light. Give us a little bit of your background and how you came to work with Leigh and bringing in Carol to People's Light.
Purely, wonderfully accidental and fortuitous for me. I was not always visually impaired. I had a stroke. And then a year later, a wooden beam fell on my head and my sight was like, nope, no, we're not making sense of the world anymore. I used to work with dogs, and my favorite thing was the theater. Once I lost most of the function of my vision, I thought I couldn't go to the theater anymore. A friend of mine invited me to an audio described performance at People's Light, and I was like, I don't know. What is that? What is that? So I went, sobbed through the whole thing. I did not know that I could experience the theater. I didn't know that I could feel a part of the world like that again. And I got a chance to meet you, and I met Leigh, and I thought, we got to do something. We got to pull the blind community in, and we've got to create a community that also wants to experience the theater with us. And I spoke to Leigh and I said, all right, let's get cracking. And I think you and I had that discussion that our community can do a lot, put some elbow grease into it, so to speak, and make something happen. Because what I understood from People's Light was that they were making every effort to provide us audio describers. But the issue that was going on was that not enough of us knew about it. So essentially what happened is, Lisa, I think you and I were talking about it. We were like, let's put something together. Let's really, that's where my idea for a Christmas carol came to be. I thought, let's really do a push. Let's get many of the blind community to come out so that we are seen. We can have an experience together. We can experience a story that has nothing to do with our blindness. And we can have an inclusive experience. I knew the only way that was going to happen if people like you and I put our heads together and created an opportunity for Carol Sexton, our singer. She is blind, for her to sing. And that when people come to a performance of People's Light, they get a chance to hear somebody who's blind sing, and then they understand what it's all about for us. And that's where the ideas started flowing. And I'm excited to say I've reached out to a lot of my visually impaired friends. And I'm like, come on, let's go. Let's go support Carol. We got to support each other. And Leigh and People's Light have been more than welcoming. And I'm super excited that you're doing this podcast. It's wonderful.
Well, we're happy to help get the word out. And I want to come back to how you and Carol, where that relationship comes from. But Leigh, I do want you to talk about what you do at People's Light. What is your role there? Tell us a brief sort of history of the theater and its mission and your commitment to including different types of programming to include different audiences.
So my title is I am the Director of Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility Programming at People's Light. And as you can imagine, that is so many things in so many forms. I started this work about 2 years ago. And I took over much of this work from a predecessor who had started about 8 years ago with what we call relaxed performances. The relaxed performances are invitations to come and be who you are, regardless of the usual theater etiquette. So we invite people to move around as they need to. We invite people to vocalize as they need to. We just say, come and be who you are. This is a particular invitation to people who are neurodivergent, but it turns out that it is also very welcoming to so many other people. We also offer ASL interpretation and, crucially, audio description. The audio description we've been offering for, I'm going to say, about 5 years. And it happens that about the time that Natanya came to our audio described performance of Thurgood, I was working with 3 other theaters, the Wilma, the Hedgerow, and 1812 Productions, on a project. It's called the Audio Description Learning Network. And the network was created for us to train new audio describers and also to train audio describers who reflected the increasing diversity of what is appearing on stage. So we wanted to make sure that we had people who were LGBTQ+, people who were BIPOC, and make sure that they were properly trained. What has happened typically in Philadelphia, we have I would say one regular audio describer who is absolutely wonderful. She provides audio description for most of the theaters in Philadelphia. And there are a few others who do provide audio description, but Nicole Sardella, shout out to Nicole, is really the one who works with so many theaters. And that's just not a sustainable way of providing audio description. Nicole is like, yes, please. There are so many more opportunities for audio description. So the Audio Description Learning Network offered a training for a bunch of people. We selected 4, and the actual training for each of these audio describers, newbies, is beginning literally this weekend. So what we hope is that by the spring, we will have 4 new, well-trained, experienced audio describers to offer their services to the Philadelphia region. All of this is by way of saying that we are so eager to welcome, invite, and support the people who need audio description. And it's a learning process. We're still learning about what works best, how best to work with this community, and what works best for everyone.
How and where are they trained? Is there some sort of program somewhere? How does that work out?
Sure. So Nicole has offered training regularly. It's usually about 2 days. And it's her talking about what audio description is, what's good audio description, what's not good audio description, what the elements are. It's in a classroom setting. She's done it quite regularly. I'm going to guess about 1 or 2 times a year. And but what happens is many people have taken that training, but then they have that classroom training, but then they haven't really had the opportunity to put it into practice. So what the Audio Description Learning Network is doing is each theater has created a pod. There is a mentor, that is someone who has had practice providing audio description services. Then there is a coach, that is someone who has had experience receiving audio description, using the audio description services. They will work with our trainee, and the trainee will prepare audio description for a production, working closely with the mentor and the coach. And I am very pleased to say that the coach for our pod at People's Light is Natanya.
Yay!
Yay! and the mentor for our pod is also Nicole. So I feel very lucky that we've just got a terrific pod. And by the way, our trainee, our fellow is what we're calling them, is Beth Feldman, who is a very, very devoted and long time participant in the arts world. She's also a poet, so she has the brevity and beautiful word choice that many poets have. So I think that this is going to be a winning combination.
I just have to share a funny story before I let you, Leigh. Tell us about the performance, and then we'll bring Carol in. But when I was at the last audio described performance, and remind me, Leigh, I know it was a play by Sam
Shepard.
Sam Shepard, right. So I didn't realize that it was a relaxed performance, or maybe I may not even really understood what that meant in terms of the audience being allowed to talk to the actors. So I was getting a little prickly about like all of this conversation going on. And then, someone said, they're supposed to do that. And oh, okay. So that was an educational moment for me there.
Yes, absolutely.
I just didn't know.
We do. Yes, we have some very enthusiastic audience members. There's no question about it.
That is a very good way to put it. And I'm also kind of sad that I'm just now hearing, because I actually did see Thurgood, and I saw it with a visually impaired colleague, but we did not know there was an audio described version of that. So
I think I spoke to your colleague, and she did mention that you guys had gone. I will say this about one-person shows, that I think of all the kinds of theater that are most easily understood and consumed, I think that those one-person theater is something that's really user friendly, and that
I
you may
agree.
not need as much audio
I
description
agree.
as
I
you might
agree.
for others.
And you're absolutely right. We did not lose a lot at all, but I just wasn't even aware until just now. So tell us about what is happening at People's Light on December 10th. And then Carol, we want you to tell us about yourself after that.
We are on December 10th having a relaxed performance, which is also audio described, of our production of A Christmas Carol. And this should be just so much fun. We're going to invite people to gather for what we call a sensory tour at 12:45. And the sensory tour is basically our way of introducing elements of the production so that people can get as full a sense as we can offer of the set, costuming, if we can, what the actors will sound like, that kind of thing. Then at 1:15, Carol is going to sing, and will be singing and providing her beautiful voice in the lobby. And then at 2:00 is the production itself. Then at 4:30, which is about when the production will end, we are going to have a community conversation about relaxed performances, answer questions that people might have, and also talk about the importance, the absolute vital importance of making sure that we work to make our theaters in the Philadelphia region as accessible as possible, and the many forms that accessibility can take. So it's a full day. I think it will be a really fun day. And I think it will be an important day. I'm thinking of it as an important day for building community. I'm thinking about it as an important day for making connections to community. This is an important part of the mission of People's Light. We call ourselves a cultural and civic center with theater at its core. We invite and create opportunities for diverse communities to discover and celebrate our shared humanity. And I don't think it gets better than December 10th. That's just going to be fabulous.
Yeah, it does sound fabulous. So, Carol, tell us about you. How long have you been performing, and how did you come to know Natanya? Tell me about your relationship with Natanya, and how you guys put your heads together to do this performance.
Well, I met Natanya at the Phoenixville Y, where I go to the Y. I've been going there for probably over 10 years. And my trainer arranged it. I'd heard a little bit about VisionCorps, but didn't know a lot about it. I met Natanya there at the Y, and then she kind of just drew me in and wanted to get me involved, and I was involved with the fundraiser up in Lancaster last June. And then later on, then she told me about this performance, and she said, I would like you to be singing. I'd like to try to help expose you as much as I can. And I was just so delighted. And I said, well, this is something that I would really enjoy doing. And so I've lived in the Malvern area since 1955. I'm originally from central Pennsylvania. I've been singing probably when I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I've done a lot of things. I call it knocking around, kind of. And I love all types of music, country western, and I've done a lot of country western, and now I'm into gospel music very much, and the title of my new album, which I've just recorded, it was released last April, and the title of the album is Sounds of Southern Gospel. And if this is a success, I would like to do more. I'd like to record other albums. I have an excellent producer, Jeff Duffield, and he's outstanding. A keyboardist, does all the orchestrations, all the arrangements. His wife also sings. They've traveled around the world, and they do a podcast that reaches probably around the world, and they've been doing this for many, many years.
So have you it sounds like you've performed just as an artist and not necessarily been pigeonholed into performing as a blind artist. Am I correct?
Yeah, I guess you just called me an artist.
Mm-hmm.
There used to be a group called the Blind Artists, and I did perform with them some time ago, and there was years ago, and there was a lady who taught at the Overbrook School for the Blind. Her name is Catherine DeRocco. She's no longer living, and so she was part of that, and there was a few other people, and so I got involved there, and I had chances to perform.
Tell us a little bit about what you're going to be doing. We don't want you to give away the store, but give us a little brief sort of synopsis of what you'll be performing.
Okay, I'll be performing a lot of very well-known Christmas songs and some carols, and it will probably be around. It will probably go around a half an hour or maybe a little bit longer. And my accompanist will be Marco Newsom, who also attended the University of the Arts, where I attended, and Combs College of Music, where I studied music therapy for 2 years, and then at University, which is now University of Arts, I was there for about 7 years. I took my time and got through. I was a piano major and a voice minor.
And have you been visually impaired or blind your whole life?
Yes, I have been. Yes. And there are challenges. And the challenges, I mean, being a blind artist or blind musician, I think one of my biggest challenges is the traveling, the transportation, since I'm not a traveler on my own, and some people are and some people are not. And I have musicians, friends that are good travelers, and they make good connections wherever they go. I always like to have a travel companion, and it's really a challenge to find just the right people, just to find the right fit to travel with you. But I've been pretty successful, I would say, over the years, and I hope that I'll be even more successful. And I hope that this CD will really take off. I've already sold about 300 of them, and I'm on my second shipment now. And I want to be a real supporter of VisionCorps. I feel that I'll be able to avail myself of their services, and it will be great.
Is your music available on places like Spotify and things like that?
Yeah, my music is out there. It's on I don't know how many different sites, and there's a thing that goes on between that I'm trying to understand between selling downloads and selling CDs. And I think with the CDs, probably the older people have CD players and they buy the CDs, whereas the younger people do the downloads. And so I think, though, that I'll do pretty well with the CDs. I think the downloads might go slower because my producer says that it takes a longer time for people to discover you. And he also said that one thing is that you, as a recording artist, you're not able to get airplay on the major radio stations because you're not on a major label. But that doesn't mean that people can't feature you, say, on one of their radio programs, which one of my pastor friends is he's having me on his radio program each Sunday. He does a church service and he has me on his program. So that's fun. And in January I'm going to be doing a radio show, Good Morning Lehigh Valley, and that's about an hour show, and I'll be interviewed, and probably he'll be playing cuts of my album from when
we will certainly link to the songs that you have up on Spotify.
Do you have a website, Carol?
No, I do not. I don't feel at this that I have enough to really put on a website, and I would need somebody to do that. The technical parts of it, that's another challenge because I'm trying to learn the social media, which is not the easiest thing, especially if you're not real computer illiterate, and I'm certainly not. But I think I do all right. And I may just get an iPad, which will be a lot easier, so that might help me too.
Natanya, tell us a little bit about what you do as ambassador of VisionCorps and how this performance even ties into your work with that.
First of all, I want to say the challenges that we've just heard Carol talk about, it's one of the reasons why I wanted to set up this performance and why it's so important to me to highlight that this is available, that we do have performing artists. I am an ambassador for VisionCorps, and what that means is that the services that I was given that helped me adapt and maintain my independence, they came to my home, cane training, learning my home, problem solving is what they gave me. And I was very happy not being an ambassador. I did not seek out to be an ambassador in the least. And the way I really became connected to them is that there was nobody else from Chester County reaching out into the community and saying, hey guys, we really got some cool stuff here. VisionCorps hires people that are blind. They train people that are blind. It's an amazing opportunity. Your life is not over once you lose some of your vision. You're going to gain a new perspective. You're going to have a new experience in your life, and it's going to be great. Because I wanted the people in Chester County and around here to have those services, I knew I needed to do something. Lord, I can't believe I'm telling you guys this. So what happened is VisionCorps kept asking me to climb down a 10-story building for their annual fundraiser called the Eye Drop. And brave person that I am, I said, absolutely not, several times. I was like, no. And I am scared of heights. Then I asked them, what's up? Why this? And they said, we're not reaching Chester County. Not only that, but nobody in Chester County is fundraising. There are 5 counties associated with VisionCorps. It's an organization that's 95 years old. They had been in the 4 counties, and they decided to come into Chester County because they thought, oh, whoa, I think they need some of these services. I thought to myself, there's no one raising money or awareness in Chester County. I guess I'm going to have to climb down a building. And then I thought, well, Chester County, we like some pop and sizzle. So I thought I better dress up as something. And if I had known that dressing up as the Statue of Liberty that one time was going to lead to a lifetime of wearing that atrocious color and holding up that flame, I would have maybe been Wonder Woman. But they didn't ask me to be ambassador. I just sort of took it upon myself to make opportunities to be interviewed by the press. I tried to raise awareness by speaking in the community. And one of the things I think about is I'm an ambassador for the visually impaired. I happen to also talk about VisionCorps. Now, I had a stroke. I have a traumatic brain injury. I'm also an ambassador for people with brain injuries. Mm-hmm. The way I look at it is I look in my community and I say, hey, what is the need? What do I know about? And how can I help you? Yeah. That makes me an ambassador for VisionCorps. And why I'm connected with People's Light, once again, that's not on behalf of VisionCorps. That's on behalf of us. That's on behalf of the people in our communities who would have a wonderful time here.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that makes any sense, but I really felt like as an ambassador, I needed to work within our community and say, hey, what can we do? Let's connect. Let's make it happen, if that makes sense.
It totally makes sense. And I definitely see the connection. So kudos to you, and your enthusiasm is very apparent. And I mean, you're in your zone.
It's really funny. Like I have long-term, short-term memory loss. Mm-hmm. I have aphasia and apraxia, which is a language disability. So I don't know what's going to be functional at any given time. And I think that's one of the reasons why getting outreach to the community is so important to me, because I know how it feels myself to not have these services. Mm-hmm. And also, let me say something. Life's hard enough when you have a disability or two. Let's have some fun in the theater. Mm-hmm. Let's show the world that we can make some noise, that we can show up. And that's what I'm about.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about VisionCorps itself? You mentioned 5 counties. What are the 5 counties?
Okay. It is Lancaster, Lebanon, Adams, York, and Chester County, which is, we're the newest kids on the block. And I just want to say, shout out Team Chester County. But my goal is to have the most amount of people on our team and to raise the most. And that way we can convince VisionCorps and we can show them that we do need these services and we are willing to work for them.
And the services VisionCorps offers similar to BBVS? Is it along the same lines?
It is in-house services. So they will assess you. They will come to your home and teach you whatever you need. If you need to go practice walking in a park, they will take you to the park. If you need help finding a job in the blind community, they may train you, they may hire you. If you want to learn how to kayak, I know that they had a program for that. If you need a support group, they've got something for that as well. I once had to figure out how to inject myself with medication. I can't see anything. How am I going to draw the medicine out and stick that into my leg? They figured out that by taping some staples together, I couldn't do myself any harm. They're a problem-solving organization, as I look at it.
Yeah. So for those who may not know, David was referencing the Bureau of Blind and Visual Services, BBVS. Leigh, tell us once again the rundown for the performance. How do people contact you or the theater to get tickets?
Sure. Okay. So the performance is December 10, Sunday. The curtain goes up at 2:00, but we are inviting people to come at 12:45 for the sensory tour. That is also when we will be distributing the audio description equipment. And what I forgot to tell you is that our audio description learning network has received a grant, not just to support the training, but also for each of the theaters to purchase audio description equipment. So this is when people will get the equipment, and if they need help figuring out how to use it, we're there to help them. In order to get tickets, you should call the box office. The telephone number is 610-644-3500, or you can call me at 610-647-1900, extension 181. I can answer questions and direct people to the box office and just answer any questions that anyone might have about that day or about our accessibility programming in general.
Can you talk about how the person who's doing the audio description, are they in a little sound booth? Are they watching in case something goes a little different than it normally goes? Where are they watching, and is it a soundproof room, or is it, because we've heard some horror stories where some people have done the description out in the middle, so it almost sounds like you're listening to golf being described because they're trying to keep their voices down so the rest of the audience doesn't hear. How does it work at your theater?
Yep. So audio description is provided live. Nicole, our audio describer, will sit in the back of the theater. We do not have a soundproof booth. Unfortunately, the challenge for so many theaters is that they were built when these sorts of considerations were not top of mind. So we don't yet have a soundproof booth, but you never know. And she will be speaking into a steno mic. The people who will be receiving the audio description will sit towards the front of the theater. Most of them will be sitting towards the front of the theater, and they will have headphones so that they can hear what she's saying, and they will also have a receiver that will allow them to adjust the volume. Nicole is really brilliant in that she provides succinct descriptions, very quick. I think probably, Lisa, your experience with True West was probably one of the more challenging audio description experiences, but I was listening to it as well, and I thought that there were just brilliant moments where she just summed it up in beautifully. So I think this will be a lot of fun. When people do call the box office, it's important for them to let us know that they do plan to use audio description, just because we do have a limited number of audio description receivers and equipment. And I just want to make sure that everyone who comes is supported fully.
When Natanya and I spoke, she said, my goal is for them to not have enough equipment.
Yes. No,
we want, I mean, that's a good and a bad thing. I can hear the nervous laughter, Leigh. But you understand, you understand, what the intent is behind it, that we want to send the message that it is an appreciated service, one that will be used. So,
and one we want so many people to enjoy. I mean, this is why Natanya and I work so well together, because I think we're both all into this project. And I do also have to say that thanks to the largesse of Artreach, which is a local organization that is devoted to increasing accessibility throughout the arts, we have borrowed their equipment as well. So I think I'm in pretty good shape. And yes, come on, folks, come and enjoy the show.
That reminds me of over the summer, the NFB convention was down in Houston, and I went to a game on the 4th of July, just me and a few other blind folks. A couple days later, I think there was around 60 or 70 blind folks from the convention then went to the game. And I had called the Astros because the Phillies don't have such a device and they don't offer real-time audio. If you're not aware, when you go to whether it's a football game, baseball game, the audio is not in real time over the radio that you may have, even if it's a transistor radio or over an app. It's delayed sometimes by as much as a minute or two. So when somebody hits a home run and everybody's cheering, after everybody sits down or goes and gets another hot dog, that's when you find out what just happened. But in Houston and several other stadiums, they offer this real-time audio. So when I called the Astros to see, hey, what was that device called and so forth and so on, they said, wow, we had so many people, we've got to order more. And I'm thinking, you just had a whole bunch, you just had 2,500 blind people in your city. It's not going to happen again.
Yeah.
Well, never say never.
Yeah. But I have to say, wasn't it wonderful though? This is what I love, is I'm usually the only blind person in my life. And to sit amongst other people who, it's like we speak the same language, it really made me feel good. It made me feel like as a community, we've got some oomph and we've got fellowship. And I don't get to have that much.
Yeah.
I will say the sensory tours that we usually have, one of the reasons why we're starting at 12:45 is because this community of folks is so warm and engaged, and it's like homecoming. So while everyone is sort of catching up and chit-chatting and all of this, that takes some time. So we want to give them the time to connect and enjoy each other, and as well as learn about the performance.
We wanted to have Carol give us a little teaser, I should say, of her performance. But before we do that, Leigh, I just wanted to give you the opportunity. If there's something else upcoming or in the works that you wanted to share, feel free to plug away shamelessly.
Oh, you know what? Our next performance audio described performance will be small. That will be in January 28th at 2 p.m.
Let's give the website again.
Sure. It's www.peopleslight.org. That's peopleslight.org. But I think the easiest thing for people to do is to call me. My telephone number again is 610-647-1900, extension 181. And I will be better prepared when people call.
That's quite all right. I think you did great. Natanya, again, great work you're doing. Continue to keep encouraging and reaching out to this community. And please keep us posted, too, of any other outreach efforts that you have going on. Well, Carol, we thought we would end with you giving just a little teaser of what you'll be performing on December 10th. Are you ready?
Yeah, sure. Hark the Herald Angels Sing. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Peace on earth and mercy mild, God and sinners reconciled. Joyful all ye nations rise, join the triumph of the skies. With angelic hosts proclaim, Christ is born in Bethlehem. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King.
Wow.
Wow.
We hope that gets you excited.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, this has been a great conversation. Again, thank you, Natanya, for your efforts. Thank you, Leigh, for your commitment.
Yes.
And thank you, Carol, for your great talent that does not show any signs of stopping. So good for you.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for having us. This was so much fun.
Oh,
It was our
absolutely.
pleasure.
Oh, yeah. This
Thank
is
you,
great.
ladies.
Come on out to People's Light.
Thanks again to Leigh, Natanya, and Carol for stopping by and giving us all that information on the performance at People's Light coming up on December 10th. And Lisa, it sounds like a really fun afternoon.
And that little snippet of a performance from Carol, wow, what a voice. Imagine her being accompanied by, a musician. Like, I think people are going to really enjoy the experience. And I think that Tanya, as I said in the interview, you definitely can feel her engagement, her enthusiasm, and her just desire to make sure that the blind and other impaired communities are involved in the arts. I mean, why should we be excluded? Why we should be able to participate like everyone else? And Natanya is very committed to doing her part to making sure that happens.
Right. She really was enthusiastic about her role with VisionCorps. And I meant to ask Leigh, and I forgot at the end, and this is what I had said when you asked me if I had any more questions. Is she the IDEA lady? Because the acronym that she gave was IDEA. So inclusive, diversity, I forget what the E was, and then accessibility or accessible. So I meant to ask her if she has Idea Lady on the card, on her business card. So, but it was a lot of fun having them on. And it sounds, again, like a lot of great stuff going on at People's Light in Malvern. And if you're in the Philadelphia area, it's not too difficult to get there. The performance is Sunday, December 10th. The numbers that you need to call to make the ticket purchases are going to be in the show notes, whether you call Leigh directly on her line or you call the theater's box office. They'll be in the show notes. At one tap, you'll connect with them. And hope everybody gets a chance to go out there and take advantage of that. And just to show that our community does want to participate in things like that, because if they have a lot of participation, they'll do more. And there'll be more opportunities for us to go see different shows and things like that.
Absolutely. As the old adage says, it's a squeaky wheel that gets the oil. And you are right, David. She already has in her title IDEA. The E is for equity, and she already has IDEA as the acronym in her title. So
Okay.
she's already labeled herself as the IDEA lady. And folks, if you do go, report back, send us an email or call us. Let us know what you thought of the performance. And if you have any thoughts or suggestions to People's Light, we'd like to hear that. The easiest way is to email us. Our email address is whitecanesconnect@gmail.com.
Or you could give us a call at 267-338-4495. You've got up to 3 minutes to leave your name and your town, along with your questions, comments, show ideas, your review of any performance that you've seen with audio description in a theater. We'd love to hear what you've got to say about those. Again, because the more that people know about it, that it's available, the more we'll use it, and it'll just build the momentum for the blind community to be able to go to see Broadway shows, off-Broadway shows, whatever it may be. And Lisa, I have to say, I'm glad your voice held out. If anybody was at the state convention a few weeks ago, you'll know that Lisa lost her voice there, and she's been searching for it ever since.
Thank you. And I hope I didn't sound too scratchy because it's definitely not the original, but thank you, David. Much better. Much better.
Excellent. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Take care.
Thanks, you. Bye.